Hello everyone, and welcome back to CSSBattle.dev. Hope you're doing well. Let's get this party started. Today our shape is something like a not quite interlocking set of white bars. So in the center of our body we have 3 white bars on the left and 3 white bars on the right. And there's a word for it, but I forget what it is. It's not quite interlocking, but kind of like interchanging. Point being, starting from the top left, you got blue, and then you got white on the right, and then it's white on the left and blue on the right, and under that you got blue on the left and white on the right, and so on. So the way I see it, you look at this, you've got a few options. Generally 3. There may be more. Let me know in the comments. Generally, there's the first one, which creates, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 elements within one element within another element that contains both sides. So you've got 6 over here, and then the one that contains all of it, and then 6 more over here, and another one that contains all of those. And then you have the big one that contains the 2 sides. So that's 12, 13, 14, 15 elements total, not including the body. This is an option. Some might find it easier because each of these rectangles are of the same length and height. So if you make a class, you can class out all of your white rectangles and all of your blue rectangles the same way. All you do is you just add the elements and then the rest fills itself out. That's one way to do it. But you create a lot of characters when you do it that way. Right, if you're going to have 15 elements, you're going to have a lot of text that fills up space. It's going to lower your score. You might get 100%, but you're going to get a very low 600 score. The second option is to create an element for each of the white rectangles, and then instead of making another element for the blue space, you make a margin. So if you notice on the left there, we've got some space on the top of each white block, and then on the right you've got space on the bottom of each block. And that's a really simple margin top or margin bottom, and you make it the same length, height, the same width, the same space as your rectangles. So that'll create 6, 7, 8, 9 elements total. That's better than 15, right? Now there's a third option, and we'll get to that. We'll get to that a little later because I know how to make it with divs and margins, but I need to look up the third way. I had it in my head, but I didn't know how to put it on the code. And that's the great thing about Google, right? You're like, I have this idea. I know how to do it. You Google it and look it up. But I wanted to talk about something before we get to that. On my way to record this, full disclosure, I already recorded one of these. I already recorded some commentary for this video, but it was very rambly and kind of all over the place. And as much as I want to build a structure for each of these commentaries, once I get into it, I just don't. The structure kind of falls apart. So instead of rambling, I wanted to write down a few ideas for what I want to mention in this commentary. And for this one, it's pretty simple. It's about structuring your ideas. There is a lot of value on what you have in your brain. You just got to figure out what that is. And I hold a belief that everyone can be a commentator or can create content online. I believe everyone should have a channel, some kind of outlet. Believe it or not, you're gonna have a fan out there. Maybe two, maybe 100, maybe 1,000. You might even get lucky and have 1,000,000. Point being, you are something special and you have something special to offer. And you need to figure that out before you display it out in the world. You could do like I did on my first recording and just ramble on until you get some semblance of an idea and then cling on to it and hope that it sounds good at the end. Or you could make it a point to sit down and think before you speak. Write it out. Personally, I love to make an outline. I just love the structure of like tabbed spaces. You've got the big A. This is the main point of this section, and then you've got the little a, and that's the subtopic of this section, and then you've got like a little paragraph or whatever broken down into a bunch of spaces, to a bunch of pieces, and it's really nice when I look at it and it's layered out in these tabs. I know somebody who likes to use bubbles instead. They make what's it called? A narrative bubble. There's a name for it. Anyway, they make a big bubble in the middle of a page, and this is going to be your main topic. This is going to be your idea, your talking point. Whatever else surrounds this bubble has to relate to this thing. And then they create little bubbles of little ideas that pop in their head that connect to the big idea. These are two great structures to build a topic for a video. I'll go out and say I don't have much experience doing this kind of thing, but I know what sounds good, and I know what makes a good essay. No, I'm not trying to make a video essay. I am way I am on a very lower level than a video essay. Those guys, wow. I don't do any research. I just talk about my own experience. I sit here and talk about CSS because I've been doing it for a year and a half. I started programming with Java before I realized, Java was a great building block for me to get my mind into coding, but web development is where it's at. If you are watching this and you haven't already started building a web page or learning HTML, start. It's super easy. You can learn HTML in 2 weeks tops. And then you learn CSS and you start designing, and you can make your own beautiful colors, and you can start playing with CSSBattle like I have. And then you can move on to JavaScript, which is a scripting language for web pages. And just a side note, if you don't already know, Java and JavaScript, two very different things. But anyway, see, I had a structure and I started to ramble. Let's bring it back. My point is, anyone can have a topic to build a video, and if you are not yet a content creator, I encourage you to do so, if it's just a creative outlet for you. I think it's important for everyone to show everyone else what they have to offer. You are valuable, and what you know is valuable. Put it on display. Now, that third way that I was talking about to make this shape. So you know that we have those white bars. On our last CSS battle, I tried to do something different. I tried to make something called a linear gradient. For some reason, it didn't work on the last battle, so I threw it aside. But on this one, I was determined. I saw these lines and I was like, I can do that. So our third way is you have your big element, which contains 2 elements, which is what splits it in half. And then in those 2 elements, you have something called a repeating linear gradient. Pause the video. Take a look at what I've done. I am so proud of it. Because it's something different. It still achieves the same thing, but it's a different way to achieve it than I was doing before. And less characters. Success. Alright guys, that's all I have for you today. I hope you're doing well. Take care of yourself. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.